Enjoy AJ's fresh food with dine-in, carry-out, and delivery options. Cheers to great food and better beer.
Mike reminded us of the 21st year. You have a lot of different teams over all those years. When you're looking at this game and preparing your team for a season, what are some things that you saw today that you can say, okay, we did that pretty well, and some other things maybe we've got to really work on?
I thought, obviously, Fletcher's shot-making ability, and did a good job of finding him. He had some offensive rebounds, spray out his jack, hit him a couple times late, and obviously fouled him. But I thought that probably ends up being the difference. Only having 7 turnovers, anytime you can play a game and have your turnovers on your team, it's going to be good. But what sticks out, obviously, the improvement is the rebounds being even. You're giving up 20 offensive rebounds. And you get when, somebody is inconsistent from 3 and maybe taking a couple of ill-advised threes, but 20 of them is a big number. And so I would say that's probably the biggest thing I would take from that. But also just a really good sign that, we lose a key piece. I didn't play today, and then other people stepped up. Jack Leonard played well. Liam did some good minutes there. So I think that's a good sign because guys are going to have games that they're going to miss. So, have foul trouble, things of that nature. The next guy's got to step up and play.
Matt, what's Trey's status? And did you know you went for house?
Yeah, I didn't know until shoot around. He practiced yesterday. At the end, like a kind of a hip winner, kind of his rib cage started bothering, so they didn't try to get it today. So we'll get some tests done tomorrow. We'll see what it is. I don't expect him to be out. He might miss Friday. I don't expect him to be out a long time, if at all. Coming to practice, he kind of and so he can't practice. So we're just going to see. It's kind of a different injury.
Obviously, the way Jack had sort of progressed over the summer, you thought he was going to be a factor at that position, maybe not this big a factor on opening day, but especially from a rebounding perspective, a defense perspective, how did you feel that he handled that assignment?
I thought he did some really good things defensively, especially in help. Just his awareness of knowing what's going on. He's a cerebral guy. He's a good passer. He's got great range on the shot. So he's somebody in that position that can pass the basketball and handle the basketball. Point guard teams that he scored. So I thought he was great. Rebounded. He found Fletch those 2 times. I thought both of those plays that he made when he chased down those rebounds and found Fletch were big plays for us.
Hey Matt, I know start of the game got a little tricky a little bit, but how good was it for your ball club to have a game like this early on to start the season?
Yeah, I think they just couldn't get on track to shooting the basketball. I think they had to have some of those go down to keep us a little bit. But I think anytime you can get that first game in play and get that under you, especially with a little bit of adversity, I think it helps you. Like a coach likes adversity when you still win, right? You don't want the adversity as a loss, but that's normally the best teacher. And for us, we wanted to get 2 Hughes, and he still hit 3 threes. I thought Hughes played well. I thought he did some good things. Casey, they recruited him when he was younger, did some good things. It just, you just can't go 2 for 26 for the next 3 times. He just didn't shoot well. And we don't have those games for that, but I don't want to take anything away from our defense either. That's some really good things. But no, just looking at it, like you want to get into that grind of moving to the next game, but learning from the past. Right? So we got to learn. We got to do a better job of that. But the thing that never ends is the rebounding and taking care of the ball. And if you think you've got it figured out, you're fooling yourself. You never have it. You're always working on those 2 areas because if you can win the possession more and you have equal teams, you're not going to win the game.
Coach, I know you're always trying to keep teams out of the paint. That's your goal. But how important was that tonight to keep Keyshawn Porter, who's an explosive player, and shut the water off on him basically all night?
We let him get it in the post a couple times, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to full front him. The other thing was keeping him off the glass. We had 2 offensive rebounds, and so we started our matchup with Braden there because we wanted CJ to get to more and make that hard, just that initial surge defensively. And yeah, just trying to keep Porter in front of us and try to get him just to try to score. Just keep him out of the paint, keep him out of the middle, and make him score.
No, I think you're aware of the pulse of your fan base where people love Fletcher Warrior or they want to replace him. It seems like that's kind of been
Well, the people that want to replace him are very smart.
that's where the
So let's don't hang out with them.
what is the value in him? Obviously, he's a great shot maker, but he does a lot of things that just help you win that probably go beyond the eye for this program.
Right. Yeah, getting 30 points on 11 shots is unbelievably efficient. But, tough, hard-nosed, knows the game, knows what's going on, always in a good position, understands the purpose of what we're doing on both ends. And that's what a good player does. A good player understands purpose for why things work. Other guys are just talented and they're hooping and playing. He understands things. He understands the angles of screens. He understands pace. He understands when they take things away from you. So he's a great player. He's won a lot of basketball games. He's probably going to leave here as Brady and TK is the all-time greatest player.
Matt, even on an average guard, doesn't have a big point total. Just his aggressiveness on offense and then to attack. How was that kind of evolved this offseason?
Yeah, we had 2 exhibitions and 2 scrimmages, and he played really well in all 4 of them. He had a great night today. Just missed the layup in transition. He had the one where the ball squirted around on offensive rebound. He missed that one. He missed another one. And then it's hard to sometimes pick up the pieces, feel good about yourself. I was glad, he stuck that 3. He's played really well for us. He's done some really good things. Today wasn't his day. But it's like I talk about in the NCAA tournament. If you're going to play 6 games, you're probably not going to shoot all 6 games. Right? You got to understand. Well, same for any sequence of 6 games. You're just not going to be always great for 6 straight games. It's just not the way it is. But you can do other things, and he does a lot of other things for us. So, good guys work really, really hard. We have more than 5 starters. So I think you saw it tonight.
2018, 7 fouls drawn between Clark and Dickerson.
Say it again.
20 points, 18 rebounds, 7 fouls drawn between the 2 centers. So it's kind of like it for you. Programs, but
just the combination. Sometimes people don't look at it. I always look at it. 19 and 18. One guy played 40 minutes, got 19 and 18. They go crazy, right? Man, that's impressive. That's what they got. Right? 20, was it 20? My math skills. They'll come school some months and strike again. 20 points, 18 rebounds. There we go. I have a master's degree, so that's what you get when you're a coach. No, I thought they were good. I thought Daniel had some opportunities that he'd like to have back. Just around the rim and be closer up there. But he just needs to stay. Daniel just needs to stay aggressive. I thought Oscar looked comfortable on a couple post moves, and that's where, for him, it's one thing, but Oscar Clough has averaged 18 points in college season before, right? So he's done that. He's not going to get the same volume with us, but there can be particular games where he does. So we need him to score this back in the basket. We need Daniel to keep being a lob threat. Got to get it from a defensive standpoint. We're short up a little bit better. They don't need to have that many opportunities. We got to do a better job of keeping the ball in the paint. But they got to do a better job of boxing out. Like they have 18 rebounds between them, but they got to do a better job of hitting. They gave up some offensive points tonight. Because if you look at AJ Casey, Joshua Hughes, Dyson Murray, if I'm saying his last name correctly, those guys, that's 14 offensive rebounds, and those are 4s, 5s right there. So we got to do a better job. And it's not always them. We did switch. And sometimes things are more team. But those guys, if they want an area where they can secure things for us, just keep being on the offensive glass and keep them off the offensive glass.
Daniel Jacobson had 11 points, 2 blocks, and it seemed like every time he scored, he was fist bumping or just bringing some form of energy.
Yeah.
What do you think that having that form of energy, and especially off the bench at a center position, can do for y'all this year?
I think it helps, just from the fact that it's kind of like a tag team with, Oscar's a bigger, more physical guy, and he's a longer, more athletic guy, just to have like a different look. I think that sometimes can cause problems because they're two totally different players, even though they play the same position. But no, Daniel's had good energy, right? And he's done some really good things, for us. I think he'd like to have a couple of those ball passes back that he really didn't. But it's him getting comfortable when he gets out of things, being able to jump, catch, finish. Everything doesn't have to be an alley-oop, but you're such a target when you're that long and you have that kind of size. He's been great.
Yeah, under the 10-minute mark in the second half, you gave that lineup with Meyer and Fletch and Braden about a 4 or 5 minute run there. Were you looking for something specific, and I guess what did you see out of it?
Yeah, no, just trying to give guys minutes, but also at times when you're subbing and you're doing different things, you're getting minutes that you don't like all the time. Obviously, that's a good lineup. I like any little combination of all 5 players. That got to play. But I thought Omer did some good things. He gives us a different look more as a passer. We think kind of have 2 points out there. I know Fletcher likes it because both of those guys can really pass the basketball. Oscar's a good passer. PK's a great passer in short rolls. And so JB can really pass. And so that's the fun thing. If you ever go to the NBA game, that's what you kind of get at. So it's just the size and the speed and the skill level. It just seems like everybody can pass the basketball. You got to get people behind plays, being an actor with action, but you got to get that ball moving. If you can't get that ball moving, you're going to be able to recover.
Hey Matt, you guys are ranked preseason number 1. The program's been ranked number 1 a lot the last few years. How are your guys handling those expectations on that this season?
Yeah, I think it's fine. We don't really talk about it. At least I don't talk about it. We just talk about Evansville, right? Now let's talk about Oakland. And when you just keep it there, you keep things simple. I understand, I thought it was really cool the first time we were ranked. And then after that, you're glad you're ranked, but you want to be ranked there, at the end of the season. And you want to earn that too. But we didn't earn this. And you could say we earned it from previous years, but we didn't earn it this season in 25-26, and we're still on proving ground. So we just got to stay grounded and worry about Oakland because they can come in here and beat us.
Now, for everything Brady's done for about 3 years, we've heard you telling him to play off 2 feet. It really seems like he's embraced that. I don't think in the exhibition or today he's been caught in the air at all.
Yeah.
And just for someone as good as he is to be willing to add and adopt something like that to his game.
But it's the one thing, you can't be with great players, you got to be in the great area at times. He makes good passes. He gets stuck in the field. But he still is able to keep his dribble alive. And then when he doesn't play on 2 feet, he does make good plays off the front. Just kind of talking to him about it, not doing it late in games. But it's his mojo. It's his kind of his superpower, that passion and that ability to play. Not the reckless abandon, but you gotta, when you have what he has in terms of seeing the court and passing the basketball, you gotta give some ability.
You call Jack a cerebral player. I think sometimes there can be a thin line between cerebral and overthinking, and maybe especially when you're like this, I guess he comes out and he's taking those shots quickly. And what did you take from that? Is that some of that the influence of the other guys you have?
Yeah, no, let it rip. Shoot the basketball if you're open. You can't rebound the turnover. Right? So, if you got a guy you feel can shoot 40% from 3, and you feel like you can get 20 to 25% of those offensive rebounds. Those are positive plays, make some misses. We're going to set our defense. Sometimes when you have certain teams that you get too many surprises. The surprise would be if he turns it down. The surprise doesn't make shoots. So if you have that philosophy, you got to let your guys go shoot. If you can't shoot, that's bad news. He can shoot the basketball. That's why he's here. And just make good decisions. Make good decisions, but err on the side of being aggressive, you can shoot the basketball. That's what.
Antoine, Sandy, the side of the middle.
Antoine, we're just going to wait here for a couple weeks. Just kind of get through a couple games here and then kind of go from there. He wasn't totally sure one way or the other. He's very competitive. He wants to play. So sometimes seeing it, you're talking about your experiences and other people's experiences, whatever. it hits home to a degree, but it doesn't really hit home. So he wasn't quite ready for that, to make that decision. So I just said, wait, just wait a couple weeks. Kind of see where we're at that time and go from there. So I'd like to graduate saying he's got to work some things out. So we can have that next year. He's done a really good job. He really